Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the Old Testament and exploring some lesser-known characters who often go unnoticed in videos. These intriguing figures are shrouded in mystery with only brief mentions of them in the scriptures. However, by delving into ancient writings and various biblical texts, we can uncover more details about these enigmatic individuals. In this episode, we'll focus on Ham's wife, a significant figure in the history of humanity. Join us as we uncover her origins and delve into the fascinating aspects of her story. This installment is part of our ongoing series on the matriarchs of humanity, where we shed light on the remarkable women behind the scenes. Make sure to hit that like button and stay tuned for the rest of the video. Now, let's turn our attention to Ham's wife, who played a crucial role as the mother of African peoples. As we explore the wives of Noah's 3 sons, we'll specifically delve into the story of Ham's wife. These women were among the members of Noah's family who managed to survive the catastrophic flood, as described in the book of Genesis. It's an extraordinary chapter in the Bible that tells the tale of their resilience. Even though the Bible doesn't reveal their names, we can confirm their existence through Genesis chapter 6 verse 18, where God instructed Noah, "But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives." Let's take a different approach to explore the stories of the women who were on board the ark. In ancient Jewish tradition, there is a fascinating manuscript known as the Book of Jubilees. This ancient text offers a unique perspective on the events described in Genesis and Exodus. It goes beyond the biblical account by providing additional details like family trees, names, specific dates, and calendars. The Book of Jubilees not only covers the history of the patriarchs, but also delves into religious practices and the laws followed by the ancient Israelites. While it is not universally recognized as part of the Jewish or Christian canon, it holds significance for certain Jewish communities. It provides valuable insights into religious beliefs and the historical context of Judaism during the Second Temple period. Interestingly, the Book of Jubilees has been preserved in various languages and manuscripts, including Ethiopian, Greek, and Latin. It holds canonical status within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and is also treasured by Jews who converted to Judaism, known as Beta Israel or Fashas. Many of these converts have both Jewish and African heritage, with roots tracing back to the descendants of Kush. In the Book of Jubilees, we come across the names of the wives of Noah's sons, providing us with more insight into their identities. One of these wives, known as Nelt Tomok, is specifically associated with Ham. According to this ancient manuscript, Nelt Tomok is described as the mother of diverse peoples, including African populations and other groups connected to Ham and his wife. She holds a significant place as the matriarch of African peoples, and her descendants have played a vital role in shaping the continent's history. Throughout generations, Nelt Tomok's children and their descendants spread across the vast expanse of Africa, establishing various cultures and civilizations. Her influence can be seen in the rich tapestry of traditions, languages, and deep connections to the land that have been passed down through the ages. The Selene oracles shed further light on Nelt Tomok's extraordinary life. As a member of the pre-Diluvian generation born before the catastrophic flood, she enjoyed remarkable longevity. During that era, people had exceptionally long lifespans, with some individuals living up to an astonishing 900 years. Nelt Tomok herself lived for many centuries, witnessing the passage of time and experiencing the transformations of the world. In this extended period, she shared several profound prophecies, as documented in the Selene oracles. It is fascinating to note that the Selene oracles suggest that all 3 wives of Noah's sons possessed the gift of prophecy. These prophetesses not only made predictions for their own generations, but also for the nations that would descend from them. Their words carried significance and provided guidance for the unfolding destinies of their respective lineages and the peoples they would give rise to. Nelt Tomok, like the other wives, had an important role in passing down prophecies to her descendants. In Christian traditions that emerged in the 2nd century after Christ, there is a text called Erik Taram, which is similar to the Book of Jubilees but slightly later in time. Within this text, we find the Siach Tarum, also known as Tarum Pseudo-Jonathan or Taram Yami, which is an Aramaic translation or paraphrase of the Old Testament. It is mistakenly attributed to Jonathan Benil. Unlike more well-known Targums like Taram Ankos for the Pentateuch and Taram Yanan for the Prophets, the Syriac Tarum primarily focuses on the historical books of the Old Testament. It is believed to have been composed between the 6th and 9th centuries AD. The Siach Tarum stands out for its unique literary style and notable differences from other traditional Targums. Although it is not widely used in Jewish or Christian contexts today and may be less familiar compared to other Targums, it offers intriguing insights into the interpretation and translation of the Bible during ancient times. Scholars interested in exploring the literary and cultural traditions of Judaism during the period of its production may find it to be a valuable resource. Additionally, the Christian writer St. Hippus mentions a tradition regarding the wives of Ham and Japheth, although he assigns them different names. According to his account, Ham's wife would be called Zedit Nabu. According to this particular tradition, it is believed that Zedit Nabu was the wife of Ham. In Christian traditions, there exists an ancient legend that relates to Ham's wife during the time of the flood. According to this legend, God instructed Noah to destroy the first person who proclaimed the beginning of the flood. However, at that moment, Ham's wife was baking bread. When the water suddenly rushed out of the oven and destroyed the bread, she exclaimed that the flood had begun. She raised her voice and declared that the flood was starting. In response to this, God, according to this 2nd century Christian tradition, decided to rescind his earlier command. He did so to prevent Noah from destroying his own daughter-in-law. In other words, God chose not to harm a member of Noah's own family who was about to be saved from the great flood. This intriguing story is found in Christian traditions and is mentioned in both the Book of Genesis, chapter 10, and the Book of Jubilees. Ham's wife, Nelt Tomok, had 4 sons with him: Kush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. It is noteworthy that the first 3 sons of Ham and Nelt Tomok gave rise to various nations, primarily in the African region. However, Canaan did not become the progenitor of African peoples. He was instead the ancestor of the Canaanites, who were known as the ancient Phoenicians of the Middle East. For many centuries, the Canaanites were adversaries and rivals of the Israelites. Although Canaan is not the central focus of the biblical narrative, his name became associated with the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is frequently mentioned as the region that would later become the inheritance of the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob after their journey there. This land encompassed geographical areas that are now part of Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and Jordan. It's fascinating to see how these biblical stories and ancient legends provide insights into the history and origins of different ethnic groups and cultures. Among the descendants of Nel Tomok, the Sumerians stand out, particularly the Sumerian people. This is because the ancient Sumerian civilization can be traced back to the lineage of Kush. Notably, Nimrod, a Sumerian pioneer, colonized the region mentioned in the Book of Genesis, which later became Babylon. In the Bible, Nimrod is described as the first mighty man on earth, Genesis chapter 10 verse 8, and is known as a skilled hunter. He is credited with founding several ancient cities in the Mesopotamian region, including Babel, Irad, and Calneh. We have a video on our channel discussing Nimrod and his kingdom. You can find the link to that video in the description. Furthermore, a significant portion of the local population in that region had Semitic origins. This includes groups like the Akkadians, Chaldeans, Assyrians, Syrians, and Arameans. It's interesting to note that the Sumerians, through the influence of Nimrod, can be connected to Kush. Additionally, it's worth mentioning that the ancient Egyptians were descendants of Nelt Tomok, Ham's wife, through her son Mizraim. The name Mizraim is often associated with the region that eventually became Egypt in biblical and historical traditions. In some Bible translations, the term Mizraim is even used as an alternate name for Egypt. While Mizraim may not be a prominent figure in biblical theology, he holds historical significance as he is linked to the land of Egypt. Egypt played a significant role in the history of the ancient Near East, and is frequently mentioned in the Bible, particularly in relation to events such as the enslavement of the Israelites and the Exodus led by Moses. Another group of people who trace their ancestry back to Nelt Tomok are the ancient Nubians. In ancient times, they were often referred to simply as Kush. The land of Kush is mentioned in various passages of the Bible, as it is connected to Kush, one of the sons of Ham and Enlach. The Kushites are frequently mentioned in historical and geographical contexts, particularly in relation to Egypt. Sometimes, the term Kush is used more broadly to describe distant or exotic lands. It's important to highlight that not only the Nubians but also the ethnicities of Ethiopia, as well as the peoples of Eritrea, Somalia, and the entire African continent have their roots in the lineage of Nelt Tomok and Ham. It is crucial to understand that the mistaken belief associating the curse of Canaan with Africans is false and harmful. This idea was created by individuals who did not correctly interpret the biblical text. It is vital to clarify that the curse of Canaan is not related to African peoples, but rather to the Canaanite people of the Middle East, specifically from the land of Canaan. Incorrectly linking this curse to Africans is a distortion and a misinterpretation of the Bible's context. The curse of Canaan is a narrative found in the Bible, specifically in Genesis chapter 9 verse 20-27. In this account, after the flood, Noah plants a vineyard, becomes intoxicated, and is uncovered in his tent. Ham sees his father's nakedness and reports it to his brothers Shem and Japheth, who cover their father without looking at him. When Noah becomes aware of what happened, he curses Ham's son Canaan and blesses Shem and Japheth. It's important to understand that the story of the curse of Canaan is not about Africans, but rather about the Canaanites. It should never be used to justify racial discrimination or prejudice. The misguided and racist interpretation of this story stems from the unjustified connection made between the curse of Canaan and the enslavement of Africans. Some proponents of this distorted interpretation claim that Canaan had ancestral ties to Africans and used the curse of Canaan as a religious justification for enslaving Africans. However, it's crucial to emphasize that Canaan was not the ancestor of African peoples, but rather of the Canaanite peoples in the Middle East. Therefore, the curse of Canaan cannot be attributed to African peoples. In our upcoming final episode, we will discuss Noah's wife, the matriarch of all humanity. We kindly ask you to show your support by liking and sharing the video with those who are interested in learning about these rarely mentioned figures from the scriptures. We also welcome your comments and suggestions for other mysterious characters you would like to explore in future videos. Thank you for accompanying us on this journey, and we wish everyone blessings from God. See you soon!